Hey, this is Leon Poe, man. You listen to Causeway Street Podcast.
What's up, y'all? This is Kenny Anderson. Y'all listen to the Causeway Street Podcast.
For all you new listeners out there, I'm your host, Joseph Pavone. I'm joined as usual by my two co-hosts.
I'm Sean Dutra. What's up?
Yeah, talk about
walks
yourself.
on the beat.
There you go. Joel Pavone. What up?
I'm a Pisces. The most romantic.
It leads off with that.
The most romantic sign in all the zodiac.
Oh,
If you couldn't tell by my voice already.
oh,
Sexy.
I'm the producer of this ensemble that we call Causeway Street. In case you missed it.
Hey, Bill Walton here, Celtics 1986. You're listening to the Causeway Street Podcast. Yeah, come here for nothing but the truth. This is where dreams come true. Thank you, Boston, for my life.
where are we going?
You guys are such homers.
It's your boy Terry Rozier. You're listening to the Causeway Street Podcast. Now listen to my boys Joe, Sway, Joel, and Sean.
I think
There's an
Larry was
argument-
the better scorer, but as an overall player, I think Paul Pierce, you can make a case for Paul Pierce.
No, I don't think so.
Right now, I look back on it, and it's like, man, you did all this for one thing because you cared so much. And, that's just who I was. I cared so much and wanted to be a winner and wanted to raise a banner and wanted to be a champion. That it's, I don't know if it's all worth it in the end, but I surely feel like it is worth it.
All right, there's the truth right there. Paul Pierce talking right before his big night at TD Garden, where, of course, he will be honored. Jersey's getting retired. Paul Pierce, I call it the last curtain call, the last tribute for Paul Pierce from the Boston Celtics, and is going down Sunday at TD Garden. Of course, we'll be talking about that. You know what? We're going to talk about our favorite Paul Pierce moments throughout his NBA career. And also, of course, we have to get into what the heck Cleveland Cavaliers did. But right before the trade deadline, man, they done revamped their whole entire roster. We'll talk about if these trades are going to make them a better team. And finally, we'll look ahead because the Boston Celtics have just dropped a loss against the Indiana Pacers. So we'll look ahead to see how they match up against this brand new looking Cavaliers team. And of course, the rest of the teams on the regular schedule. This is the Causeway Street Podcast. I am Joseph Pavone, Joel Pavone to the right of me. And we got Sean Dutra right across from me. What's up, Sean?
Hey, everybody.
So let's start things off right quick with this Paul Pierce ceremony, of course. Because
I thought you were going to start with Christian Fourier.
The truth. Nah, man, we ain't going to start with that. Oh, you want to go right into that, huh?
No. I just, go ahead. Paul Pierce more.
We'll
more
save the
important.
best for last.
The meathead?
As Vanessa Williams has said
Moron.
last time. It's Paul Pierce Day.
Hell yeah.
So we're going to talk about Paul Pierce for this episode because this episode is dedicated to Paul Pierce getting his number retired. We've talked about it in the past, the biggest retirement ceremony since Larry Bird, and
gonna get him on?
arguably the greatest Celtic of our generation is getting his number retired Sunday night.
You
The
gonna get
greatest.
him on? You gonna get him on?
Get him on where?
The podcast.
No, we didn't get him on the podcast, man.
damn,
Paul Pierce
bro.
got other things to do, but you know what? We can talk about what Paul Pierce not only meant to this franchise, but to the game, what he meant to the NBA. Because at the end of the day, man, Paul Pierce, in my opinion, I'll always say is one of the, if not the most underrated basketball player who ever played in the NBA. That's my take.
No, he's definitely the most underrated basketball player. I mean, I think he's the most underrated player when you think about all-time greats. But I mean, it's close. It's close. He's definitely up there. I mean, he won his title, so there's a lot of great players that haven't won titles. But at the same time, if you haven't won a title, what have you been doing, right? So Paul Pierce, I think you're gonna look. I think Paul Pierce's legacy is a little bit. The reason why you may say he's underrated is because he played for the Boston Celtics. I really think that. Like, if Paul Pierce played for, I don't know, the Houston Rockets or something like that, he'd be viewed as one of the top 10, top 15 best players of all time.
Well, I don't think it's just that. I think it's the fact that he didn't make an NBA first, all NBA first team.
Well,
He didn't, it took him obviously almost 10 years to get on the big stage of the NBA finals. But much respect has to be given to him because he waited almost 10 years to get some help, never left his team, remained one of the top scorers in the NBA, and he's a 10-time All-Star.
Yeah, I think if you look at a 10-time All-Star, a guy who was obviously the face of a franchise for years, where they just showed ineptitude. They couldn't build a team around him for years. Anton Walker was not happening. Like, it wasn't working, and they just kept trying to do it for years. But yeah, Paul Pierce, man, easily a top, what do you want to give him, 25? Top 40 player of all time? Top 30 player of all time.
I'll go that route.
He's probably number 30.
I'll go that route, but I think what's a
But
better
still,
way,
of all time-
a better way to group Paul Pierce is one of the best scorers.
Score, yeah, definitely.
Top 20, top 15. I mean, he's top 15 points wise. You know, he's there, top 15 scorer of all time. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he didn't even make those deep playoff runs.
I mean,
throughout
you know what?
so much of his career. If he did make those deep playoff runs, then we're talking about easily one of the top 10 scorers of all time.
Here's the thing. And Joel, I want to hear your thoughts in a second. But like, here's the thing. It's like we can try to put Paul Pierce on this pedestal of all-time greats, but when it comes down to it, group him in with the all-time best franchise of all time, where you have some of the best players to ever put on a uniform, and rank him there, man. That's I think what means most to us is just where does he rank in Celtics lore? Because in all-time NBA lore, you know what? It's gonna get tied up. You're gonna have like people say, you know, that, oh, well, remember Otis Thorpe was really great on this 1 year, whatever. You know, it's going to get bogged down. But if you're looking at Paul Pierce is a Hall of Famer, hands down. But as a Celtic, where does he rank? That is the question that I think he is probably a top 3 Celtic of all time, easily.
Top 3.
He's definitely top 5.
I think he's top 3.
I think he's okay, but I'm saying, but he's definitely a top 5. I mean, overall, one of the most underrated pure scorers in NBA history.
But
and the numbers prove it. I get it. He only won 1 championship, went to the finals 2 times and won once. But like, you can't deny the numbers though. Like especially with the Celtics,
should have won 3 times.
Like the franchise numbers, second
2 times at least,
second all-time leading scorer in franchise history.
But I think that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. Like, you have a guy that is easily the best basketball player that we've seen since 1988. It is 2018. He is still the best basketball player
as a Celtic
in a 30-year span on this team, right? Yeah. And somehow people outside of Boston don't understand that, and he's not even the greatest of all time on his team. You know what I mean? Like, because that's the thing. That's what happens in Boston. Yeah, but you know what I mean?
It goes back to just those who don't live here or those who don't cover or follow the Celtics. It's like, but he only won 1 championship. Like,
right?
They'll harp on that, for like a very long time
because they compare it to the players that came before him. Like Sean's saying, like a lot of. Obviously, some of the greatest basketball players came through Boston, whether we're talking Bill Russell, Havlicek.
Well, those same people that are not giving Paul Pierce's due are voting in Tracy McGrady to the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of stuff that I can't stand. It's because you played in Boston. You're not the best all time on your squad. Yeah. And then that's supposed to be a knock against you.
When people look at Boston, the basketball analysts or the basketball. Just say, let's basketball fans in general who don't necessarily look at the Celtics or watch Celtics games, on a regular basis. And it's like, when I think of the Celtics, I just think of Larry Bird, McHale, Russell, Havlicek. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, for those who don't follow, but Paul Pierce only won 1 championship, though. I know, I get it. He played there for 15 years.
Well, could you make a case could you make a case that Paul Pierce is the greatest Celtic scorer of all time? Because I think you could.
That's tough. It's tough.
Considering the fact that he finished his career passing Hondo, overall,
by 2 points. When Doc by 2 points. I mean, it was a small margin, but he did pass Hondo.
Hey, a win's a win.
So if we're talking about Paul Pierce, remaining a Celtic after the 2013 season, he would have, in all-time franchise history, would have passed Hondo.
Thanks a lot, Danny.
No, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it, Joel.
He was a free agent before he went to the Clippers.
Jaylen Brown.
No.
Jason Tatum.
He was a free agent, though. I'm talking about when he was a free agent before he went to the Clippers.
Now Sean's talking about Jaylen Brown.
Before he went to the Clippers, like you could.
Oh, you could have signed him back.
A 6-man. A 6, man.
We were saying. I remember we
a
were
6.
saying
We
that.
were.
Yeah, but Joel, you're forgetting the fact that those couple seasons before that,
He
they
was balled out.
wouldn't have counted towards
The Brooklyn
Boston Celtics points.
The
So
Brook-
it would have been.
no,
He
but
still would have been off
It
quite a
wouldn't have
bit.
mattered either way. It wouldn't have mattered
Still-
either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not
You
saying.
get,
I'm
you
not saying
get
that.
Pierce. You get Pierce in that
No, but you
off
add-
season.
you
Do you
add to
get
the
do you get
total.
Isaiah Thomas?
I'm
Who
saying,
knows?
you just add
Who
to
knows?
you added to the total. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You added to the
But-
total numbers.
but-
Regardless, he's second, and no one's going to touch him for quite some time.
But I also think that in Paul Pierce's legacy, I think, and as weird as this sounds right now, if Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum turn into these perennial all-stars that we all hope, you're going to look back at that Paul Pierce trade and Kevin Garnett trade and say, thank you. You know what I mean? Like, thank you for being able to say, listen, you guys aren't building around us anymore. We get it. Just move us somewhere else. And you fleece Brooklyn. As much as you want to give credit to Danny Ainge, you have to give credit to Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett to say, yeah, just send us to Brooklyn, new franchise.
Kevin,
Right.
he waived his no
That-
trade
that's
clause.
that's what I mean. And literally that move took us from what happened in 1988, where Bird stayed until 91, right? So from 1991,
88 was the beginning of the end, though. That's good. That's
it
a
was
good
the beginning
call.
of the end.
Yeah.
It was the beginning of the end.
when they lost,
Right.
Yeah,
And the Eastern Conference Finals against Detroit.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the end. From that point to what?
91.
Do you want to call 2002 a success? Because, I mean, we can, but in the grand scheme, if you want to go 20 goddamn years until they got back to the Eastern to the finals.
Eastern Conference Finals, that was 88 to 2002, yeah.
Yeah. And then if you want to go, I mean, but really, like, the reckoning day was 2008, where we had everything going for us, right? So we were the favorite again. But if you didn't want another 20 years, you got to be happy that Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett said, you know what? Yeah, we're good with being traded. Like, and even if Paul Pierce didn't have a no trade clause, he could have stopped the trade from happening. He could have been to the media and said, I want to stay here for the rest of my career.
Well, Danny at least gave him that courtesy
yeah.
of saying, hey.
But I'm just saying it's going to go down as his legacy. So that has to be built into his legacy if you're talking about Celtics.
There's a deal on the table for Brooklyn. You guys are still going to compete. Because I remember when the trade went down.
And Danny just hits play and he goes, Brooklyn, we go on.
We
We go
hard.
on. And they're like, oh, yeah, send us Brooklyn, man.
All right, but can we compare Paul Pierce and Larry Bird?
But they were the second best team in the East.
Yeah, they were.
On paper.
Hold on. We got a real conversation.
Deron Williams and who?
We got a real conversation to go through right now. Can we compare Paul Pierce to Larry Bird?
Woo! Okay. So
Let's get to it.
Let's preface.
We were going to spend 2 minutes on this, but all right.
Let's preface this. I didn't see Larry Bird play. I saw Larry Bird play. I mean, I never really actually saw Larry Bird play.
See,
I remember my dad like watching a game with me. I remember like blurs on the TV screen, him talking about Larry Bird, and then I grew up on like Larry Bird stories. But like I never witnessed Larry Bird as Larry Bird.
You guys talk about 88 being like the beginning of the end. The next season is when I remember watching Larry Bird. So the last 3 years of his career, which he'll tell you, he'll say like I should have retired after 88. Like I played like 3 seasons too long.
Born in 88? Old enough.
So
but that's the thing, though.
And he was still great. To me, he was still great.
Yeah, but Joel, listen, this is that's the point of the argument, though. Like
the
element of what if. It's like, okay, yeah, well, if Larry, wasn't doing yard work for his house, maybe his back would have been much better. Maybe he could have prolonged his career. We never know that. But if we look at the numbers now, if we look at what we saw from Larry Bird, what we saw compared to Paul Pierce, obviously Larry Bird had much better teams than Paul Pierce did throughout the majority of his career.
I get it. Yeah.
However, if we're comparing the player, if we're talking about the defensive side of things that Paul Pierce brought to the table compared to what Larry brought to the table, if we're talking about the type of scorer Paul Pierce was, a guy who can get to the hoop, who can score threes, all time, the best 3-point scorer of all time for the Celtics, not to mention the best free throw shooter of all time, can get to the line more. I think Paul Pierce puts up a good case that he may have been the better scorer out of the two between him and Larry Bird.
So it's almost
scorer, but
it's impossible.
it's a score. It's a score. It's the mentality.
Or heck, player.
But it's the mentality.
Did Paul Pierce play better defense than Larry
Okay,
Bird?
wait. I think the thing is.
Oh, by the way, Paul Pierce leads the all-time Celtics in most steals. I don't know. I'm just saying.
But like, if you think about it, like statistics were different in the 80s than they were in the 2000s. Well, let's say that, right? So like a steal.
So was winning championships. Larry Bird won more championships. Like,
and he went to the finals more times too.
I mean, the competition was different too, right? Competition was different too.
So were the teams.
But if you think about it, like, I think what resonates with me, and like I am the biggest fan of Paul Pierce, but I will never argue with anybody that says Larry Bird was a better player, because I watched some of the Larry Bird tape and it's like by far, Larry Bird was the best player on the court anytime he took the court. Anytime. Which, to me, speaks as like, how are you gonna argue with that? Like,
I mean, the question Sway was saying was score.
No, it doesn't matter, because
that's what he's saying. It's score.
But Larry Bird would literally pull up and just hit a jumper anytime he wanted. If he wanted to do that every time he came down to the court, he could have.
Who's the better player then? Who's the better player?
I don't know, man. I can't judge on that. But if I watch Larry Bird and I say Larry Bird, if I watch, okay, let me start with this. I watch Paul Pierce. I root for Paul Pierce. I love Paul Pierce. I watch him. I could find like 5 to 6 players in his generation. Let's even lay him out there. You got Kobe, whatever,
Garnett,
LeBron, Garnett in his prime. You want to take? Give me some people who are better than Tim Duncan. Whoever you want to say. Like, there are players, even if you throw MJ in there are players that were better than Paul Pierce on the court when he was on the court. But Larry Bird, you can't say that. Well, you could argue Magic Johnson, but at the end of the day, it's an argument, and it's a 50-50 argument, and it's a different time period.
It's like one guy.
It's one guy. Like that. That's it.
Larry won MVP. How many MVPs? League MVPs.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
See, that's the thing, though. That's when you get into the conversation of, Larry had a better team. Paul Pierce had a weight. Paul Pierce had a weight. He was almost 30. They had the team.
I don't think it matters about the team.
So then that's
definitely matters.
That's what I'm saying. So the question was score, and then that leads into but what about player?
Well, my point is, I think Larry was the better scorer, but as an overall player, I think Paul Pierce, you can make a case for Paul Pierce.
No, I don't think so.
You
could take an argument for
scoring. Was Larry a great defender?
He wasn't a great defender?
He was a great defender?
He was in the voting for Defensive Player of the Year almost every season. Was Paul Pierce ever in the running for Defensive Player of the Year?
Was Larry ever even come close to most steals in franchise history? Paul Pierce leads the franchise history in steals.
He played longer than Bird did.
And also steals were categorized differently back in the day. Like, if somebody just caught a ball on a missed pass, it wasn't a steal.
All right, well, you can ask a lot of people about Larry Bird's defense, and they will tell you that he wasn't. All right, he wasn't great at defense.
So here's the thing.
I've had personal conversations with him about his defense was a 6 out of a scale of 1 to 10.
Well, I mean, you brought up the question.
That was when everyone played defense because no one knew how to play offense. Like, that was it.
So
like,
shouldn't he have been better? What do you mean? Everyone played defense when everyone played offense? This is why Cedric Maxwell said that Kevin Garnett was a better Celtic than him, because he said that Kevin Garnett was a 10 on offense and a 10 on defense. Larry Bird's defense gets overlooked a lot of the time because he was such a great scorer. Which I agree with that. But of his overall player,
you're going to go with Cedric Maxwell?
No, I'm just saying that as an
example. To say
anything? I'm saying that as an example, as someone who played
Larry Bird ever.
God love Cedric Maxwell, but
yeah, but do you really think he was a great defender though? Look at the numbers. I understand, like you said, you didn't even see Larry Bird really play. But you look at the numbers though, he wasn't a great defender.
You can't. So here's my thing: is that
wasn't a great defender.
I would love it. I would love to say that Paul Pierce was a better Celtic of all time than Larry Bird, but I just can't, because the fact that Larry Bird was by far the best player in the NBA.
Multiple times.
For at least from 1981 to 1988, Larry Bird was the best player probably about 4 times. When you had one of the other transcendent players,
he was on the best team in the NBA.
Yeah, but still,
Paul Pierce was never. He was on the best team in the NBA.
I don't think that matters, man. Because
how does that not matter?
No, I don't because that time in the NBA, because that time in the 80s in the NBA. It really didn't matter. Like who
does that
okay,
matter?
give me your top, give me your number 3 in the 80s. Who's number 3?
Number 3 what?
Best player in the 80s.
Magic. What do you mean, like players off the top?
So Magic's number 2. Who's number 3?
In the 80s? I don't know. Isaiah Thomas? He was up there.
Dominique.
Jordan wasn't quite there, but he was in the conversation at the time.
Do they touch Bird and Magic?
No, but the teams don't touch.
That's all you need to say, though.
But the teams don't
That's
touch
all
those
you need to
guys.
say, though. That's all you need to say.
Sean, Larry Bird was on arguably the greatest NBA team ever assembled.
Wait, Isaiah Thomas had one of the best teams ever assembled.
Yeah, in the 90s.
No,
when
it
Larry was
80s,
on his way out.
Late 80s.
Late 80s.
No. Well, yeah, that's when it started, but when they started winning championships,
It was late 80s.
All right, late 80s. But at the same time, though, you can't forget the fact that Paul Pierce was never on one of those greatest teams. He had to deal with the Lakers era. He had to deal with the San Antonio era. He had to deal with so many teams that were so much greater than what he was trying to do in Boston. Whereas Larry Bird had a team established when he was in his prime. Paul Pierce had to wait until the end of his prime.
Hold on. But he was still the leader of those teams. He still was like just pound for pound.
So was Paul Pierce.
The better
Paul Pierce.
player. Okay, but
Paul Pierce took out LeBron James. Paul Pierce took out Kobe Bryant. He took out the best players in the league. Like, if you put that type of talent
81
with Paul Pierce for a stretch of 5-6 years, Paul Pierce would have the same exact championships as Larry Bird.
I don't know.
He almost had 2. Larry Bird had 3.
I think that sometimes
he only went twice, and he
we
went to the
are
finals.
Yeah, and Larry was a hell of a lot younger than Paul Pierce was when he did it.
we are nearly 40 years away from when Larry Bird came onto the scene, and I think I want to be straight and say I don't want to like forget about what happened. Like I think it's an argument, Sway. I think it's an argument, but I think at the same time, when you look
I think it's an argument for scorer. I don't know about player. I think that's not an argument.
I think player, you got to
Look
give
at the defensive numbers. I've done my research, man.
Now wait.
Okay, so you want to say he's a better defender? That's fine, but he's not a better overall player.
Now wait.
Overall, if you're talking
He's
about
not a
scoring
better
and
player.
defense all together, he scored more Pierce.
No.
He scored more Pierce. He scored more points than Larry Bird, more steals than Larry Bird, more free throws than Larry Bird, more 3-pointers than Larry Bird. What are we talking about here? Those are all offensive stats that I just mentioned. Those are all defensive stats that I just mentioned. Larry Bird doesn't come close to Paul Pierce.
Yes, but it was a different
And he
time.
did it on a bad team. He didn't. This is career we're talking about. Paul Pierce didn't make deep playoff runs like Larry Bird did. Larry Bird made those deep playoff runs, and he doesn't come close to those numbers that I just mentioned. Steals.
All right, I'm gonna let Sway get on his
Yeah,
soapbox.
here we go.
I'm gonna
Here we
let Sway
go.
get on his
Steals,
soapbox.
points, free throws. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? Points. Larry Bird doesn't come close. Come on, man.
Sway, get on his soapbox, man.
That's it.
If you want,
We've had discussions about how we don't think LeBron James is better than Larry Bird. You're going to tell me that Paul Pierce is better than Larry Bird?
I think
man.
LeBron
Come
James is
on,
better than Larry Bird.
better than Paul.
That's a bad argument. I think
If you-
LeBron James not better than Michael Jordan.
I don't even think Larry LeBron is better than you know what I'm saying, than Larry Bird.
I think he is. So
You-
we're on different pages. That's fine. But
you
my
talk
point
about-
is, look at the
No,
numbers.
wait.
Look at the numbers and look at the games and look at the depth of how many playoff
Sway, I'm gonna
runs
make you
Larry
feel
Bird
mad.
made.
I'm gonna make you feel mad stupid. Give me a top 5 players of all time.
Of all time? All right. Jordan, Kareem, LeBron's in there somewhere. I don't know where you guys want to put him. Jordan, Kareem, LeBron. Give me, I don't want to say Magic, but Russell. Let's go that route. Russell. What's that, 4?
All I'm trying to do is say, if you're ranking your best players of all time, Bird's ahead of Pierce all the time.
Oh yeah, he is. But I'm saying for what the player he was, that's what I'm saying. Like the 3 championships is what does it. That's the thing though. Like if Paul Pierce were to make 2 or 3, if he reached 2 or 3 championships, then we're in a discussion.
By the way, you just ranked LeBron over Bird, man.
Yeah,
You gotta get the fuck out.
How do you not say LeBron's over Bird? You really don't think that?
LeBron James is not better than Larry Bird.
Okay, really?
Absolutely not.
Maybe if he was healthy enough.
Absolutely not. Are you kidding?
No. He passed that a couple of years ago, man.
He passed-
recent. It's recent, but he passed that when he knocked off arguably one of the greatest teams in the Warriors. He knocked them off.
He knocked him off?
Well,
Kyrie knocked him off.
Kyrie made a big shot.
Kyrie knocked him
Who set
off.
the stage, though?
Oh, it doesn't matter who made the final shot. You know who would have made the final shot if Larry Bird was on that team?
Paul
Larry
Pierce.
Bird would have made
Paul
that
Pierce would've
shot.
made that shot.
Oh, Paul
Pierce would've made that
Paul
shot.
Pierce is better than LeBron James. Let's put it that way.
No, I wouldn't say that.
All right, let's go. All right, what are we doing here?
Speaking of LeBron,
There was a trade deadline.
Speaking of LeBron James was his did his best GM job at the trade deadline because he done shook up the entire Cavalier roster. But my question is,
shook once.
Is this a better team than what we saw 2 weeks ago in the Cavaliers?
Break it down.
What's the difference
Break
here?
it down what happened so we didn't know what
Okay, so obviously the biggest trade, obviously the biggest name I should say, was Isaiah Thomas, the former Celtics, switching sides and joining the Lakers. Can't make this stuff up, man. The Lakers, he was a part of the deal that brought home for the Cavaliers. You have Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance, along with Isaiah Thomas goes Channing Frye and 2018 first-round pick. Now, in a separate deal, the Cavaliers acquired Rodney Hood and George Hill from the Utah Jazz. Jay Crowder goes to Utah. Derrick Rose goes to Utah. Joe Johnson and Iman Shumpert go to the Kings. Now, the third deal, this is the deal that Joel was really confused about, and I'm somewhat confused about Dwayne Wade going to the Miami Heat, but at the same time, I think it's because of the fact that these two players are going to take up so many minutes that Dwayne Wade was like, you know what? I'm not going to play second fiddle to these young cats. But either way, he's going back to the Miami Heat. The Cavaliers take a future second-round pick that's in like 2024, and there you go. The Cavaliers trade 6 players and get 4 in return. What are you guys' thoughts about this? Do the Cavaliers actually have a better team here?
No.
Can this team actually bring this team back to the NBA Finals?
No.
No chance?
No.
No?
Who's in number 3? Tell me who's in number 3. Who's
Rodney Hood?
Wait, who? Yeah.
Jordan Clarkson? Hey, it's a desperation move.
No,
you know they had to shake up this roster. You know they had to.
Yeah, wait, who was the Celtics? Who was the Celtics number 3 last year?
Last year? I don't know, Crowder?
Yeah, it was Crowder.
Yeah.
I would take 2016 Crowder
I know,
over
it was
any of those, dude.
It was Bradley.
Who was number whatever?
Yeah, Bradley or Crowder, whichever. Yeah.
Listen, Rodney Hood, trash. George Hill, 4 years past his prime. You want to give me who else? You want to give me Larry Nance Jr.? Oh yeah, he's gonna do great. No, he's not. He's gonna dunk and miss a lot of stuff, and then not be anywhere near the fact that Stephen A. Smith and everybody else goes out and says the Cavs now the favorite in the East. No, they are not. They got rid of their third best player, or arguably their second best player in Isaiah Thomas, and brought back Rodney Hood and George Hill. You know what Rodney Hood and George Hill do normally? They play on the Kings and they play on the Jazz. And they barely play. And now they're supposed to come on the Cavaliers and somehow make a difference in the Eastern Conference Finals.
All right.
They are not going to make any difference.
I like Rodney Hood for this team, but I give you
No.
that. I give you the fact that they obviously Utah lost Gordon Hayward, and Rodney Hood never really stepped his game up. I give you that.
Ever. And you know who was playing
This
over
is
Rodney
the year
Hood?
he's supposed to step his game up.
You know who was playing over Rodney Hood? Donovan Mitchell.
In other words, he said,
Joel?
"Yeah, I'm a rookie, but I'm gonna dominate more than you."
That's much better. Thank you.
Hey, they do have shooters though. Isn't that how you compliment LeBron? No, you give him shooters.
Wait,
right?
who's the shooter?
Everyone but Nance, right?
Rodney Hood.
Rodney can shoot.
Is he a shooter?
Clarkson can shoot.
You know who was a shooter? Is Kyle Korver. How's he been doing?
Terrible.
Yeah.
Well, they need to make him a starter and get J.R. Smith on that bench.
No, they needed to blow up more than they did and get back. Right now they have a D-League All-Star team on their team surrounding LeBron James. That's what they have. And the fact that anybody wants to say this is the best team in the East is a freaking joke. It's a freaking joke. It's ridiculous. I don't know how you feel about it, Joel, but I think it's a joke. And they took on $28 million in contracts. Isaiah would have been expiring. Channing Frye was expiring. They brought back contracts. So now, guess what?
Yeah,
if
but
LeBron
Sean,
wants to build a team, guess what? They got no space.
Yeah, but Sean, this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to find cats that will stick and tell LeBron,
LeBron's gone.
Clarkson, hey, he can play for you. You know, he's young. He's still getting better. You know, Rodney Hood, who hit those big shots down the stretch of that Game 4 or whatever series. See, he'll be around. He's getting better. This is their desperation move because think about it. Dwayne Wade, Isaiah Thomas, or whether he's signed or not, Shumpert. These aren't the guys that are going to convince him to say, "Okay, I'll stick by.
Fine,
I'll stay around. I'll try to build around these guys."
All right.
A desperation move.
If you want
young guys,
if you want to say
high
that,
ceiling.
No.
It's a desperation move.
This is a move that tells me that LeBron is definitely leaving because there's zero chance.
Well, if it doesn't work out.
Zero chance that LeBron will be like, oh, yo, you got Rodney Hood, bro? and Jordan Clarkson.
Those are my favorite guys.
Rodney Hood and Jordan Clarkson. I'm staying, bro. You kidding me? Oh, forget it. I'm going to build my team around Jordan Clarkson. Yeah, no, this tells me that the Cavaliers, which their right to do, is to say, they probably asked LeBron. They said, LeBron, are you staying here? We will build a contender around you if you are staying here. And he goes, I'm just not gonna commit. And they said, you know what? We're just gonna get younger. We're just gonna get people that we can control. We can trade off of pieces. Jordan Clarkson, without LeBron James on that team, could probably go for a first-round pick. You could probably flop him for a first-round pick at some point. Rodney Hood, same thing. You can put them on contenders next year when you don't have LeBron James. There's a move just to build without LeBron James. LeBron James is basically wallowing in his own sorrow right now. That's basically what's happening.
The only good upside I see of the move for the Cleveland on Cleveland side is they got younger. All right, great. They're the oldest team in the NBA. They're the worst defensive team in the NBA. All things considered, George Hill and Rodney Hood are an upgrade defensively. Right? That's all I'm going to say about that. Defensively,
which they can use because they're one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA.
Exactly. But
you think so?
The Cavs?
Defensively, it's an upgrade.
Defensively, I mean, I'm sorry.
I
love Isaiah, but anybody
it can't get anywhere.
Anybody, George Hill, fair. Isaiah defensively, or
Rodney
Hood.
George Hill's not really known for his defense, but better than Isaiah. Okay, fine.
Okay, Rodney Hood better than Derrick Rose, better than Iman Shumpert. Defensively, I'm saying defensively.
Yes, and offensively, Rodney Hood is an upgrade over Derrick Rose.
Okay, he is averaging 16, 17 points a game. Rodney Hood off the bench, right? So, however the Cleveland wants to decide to use him, whatever, it's their prerogative. Everybody else, though, other than George Hill, they're 25 years old or younger. Okay? Why did they trade Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love? Because LeBron didn't want to,
preaching to the choir over here.
LeBron doesn't want to groom anybody at this stage of his career. So, if the team a week and a half ago that they had before, with Derrick Rose coming back, with Dwayne Wade playing well, with Isaiah Thomas, playing at that point 10 games or so, and everyone's like, wait until April, guys. Wait until March.
Wait until we get all our things
now, all of a sudden, they get traded, and it's like, well, Isaiah was never a really good fit after 15 games.
Once we find a suitor to take Isaiah, he never really fit around.
Even if he was averaging 25 points a game, you still 15 games is not enough to say, yes, this team is going to challenge the Warriors.
Joel hits it on the head. Did they give up on Isaiah Thomas too early?
They did. They completely did.
Yeah, but we know who's pulling the strings here. It's LeBron James. LeBron's like, look, this guy's critiquing us. This guy all of a sudden is the expert on how to play defense.
I don't know about that.
You think he appreciated the fact that he was like, oh, in Boston,
I get it.
We held each other accountable in defense. Like he didn't like that.
I get it.
Hated that.
I get it. But if it was somebody else, I'd say I completely agree with you. But because I think it's Isaiah, and I think he understands Isaiah that this is the guy who has this chip on his shoulder his whole entire life.
Always outspoken.
Exactly. So I think LeBron, if it was somebody else saying what Isaiah was saying, LeBron would be like, who the hell is this dude?
Yeah, but see, that's the point, Joel. That's the point. It's never somebody else. Kyrie never talked like that.
I get it.
Kevin Love never talked like that.
I feel like
LeBron hates that. He had somebody challenging.
Yes, I feel like Wade never talked like that.
I get it. But I feel like it was Dan Gilbert or whoever.
No,
whoever the GM
LeBron.
was just like, nah, this dude's got to go.
I think it was LeBron.
I think they all agreed on it. Okay, yeah, I'm with you. I think Dan Gilbert agreed on it, and LeBron James was like, yeah, if you can find somebody to take this dude, let's just do it.
I feel like LeBron walked into Dan Gilbert's office and was just like, I mean, come on, without saying anything. And he's like, I know. Can you believe it? And he's like, oh, somebody's talking about. No, man.
Again.
This is all flabbergasted.
Okay, relax, LeBron.
Relax. Everything's gonna be all right.
We got 48 hours. We'll figure this out, all right?
Again,
I'm gonna type him a letter in Comic Sans right now.
Again, from the beginning of the season up until the day before the trading deadline, it's like, oh. Yeah, the Cavs have lost by 20 or more points in how many games against bad teams and good teams.
Yeah,
but it's only February, guys.
Wait until October.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's only February.
Yeah, but you know what else?
It's only that. So then, if that team,
they must have been like, look at Isaiah's defensive numbers. Like, everyone.
I know, I get it. So then,
here's my thing. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, but so if that team was still a contender to possibly. And in quotation fingers, possibly knock off the Warriors.
Possibly.
And then you go and you get players that are younger who have never been to the playoffs or have never made it out of the first round.
My name's Rodney Hood.
And between now and
Smoke
April, 2 months, less than 2 months, to get it together, are you really telling me that the way the Celtics have been playing, regardless that they've been struggling as of late, you're going to tell me that Rodney Hood, Jordan Clarkson, who was the other guy?
Larry Nance Jr.
George
Hill.
And George Hill. No, I'm not even going to say George Hill because he's 31. Just those three guys.
George Hill's an OG.
He's an OG, right? But just those three guys, and plus he used to battle with LeBron with the Pacers.
He used to have blonde
know what I mean?
hair.
Like
he used to have blonde hair.
Yeah, but he's still
not a good dude.
No, I mean, looks aside.
Looking like
Cisco.
He's going to battle against LeBron with the Pacers, like 2 to 3 years straight. So
lost every time.
Okay, but they made it into the Eastern Conference Finals.
You know who else did? Roy Hibbert. You want him on the team?
No, but I'm just saying, like, but those the first three guys that I mentioned never been in deep playoff runs, at all in the playoffs. And you're gonna tell me that those three guys are better than Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and fucking Daniel Tice?
Yeah, wait. Even if you want to go back to what you just said,
even if they have no playoff experience,
Forget the Celtics. I'm sorry, but you got a playoff game coming down to the wire. Who do you rather want on the court? Rodney Hood or Dwayne Wade?
Dwayne Wade all day.
Do you want George Hill or Isaiah Thomas?
Isaiah Thomas.
Thank you. You had the squad, LeBron. You fucked it up because you couldn't figure it out. You couldn't figure it out, so you fucked it all up.
And here's the icing on this great hypothetical cake that they're the best team in the East. Kevin Love is still out until fucking the end of March.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to say this with confidence and if you don't care what I say, suck my dick.
Or just give us a nice comment in the
give me a great comment in the YouTube section if you don't believe what I'm saying. But the Cavaliers will fall to the bottom half of the playoffs, so they'll be a 5 through 8 seed.
I mean, I can still see them.
And I wish they fell. I hope that Detroit and Philly. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. The Cavaliers have a 40% chance of missing the playoffs now.
Well, I mean, they still make the playoffs. I don't.
LeBron, right?
I don't think they'll go higher than where they are right now. They'll be the 3rd or the 4th seed.
They are in the mix. You know what I mean? But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Because 5 through 10 is such a clusterfuck in the East.
3 through 10.
Okay. Well, where they're at, yeah, okay, because Miami's right there as well. I mean, I think Miami made a great move in acquiring Dwayne Wade because he knows his role and he's been doing it pretty well.
Listen,
but that's besides the point.
The difference between the Cavs and the 9th seed is the same difference.
I don't know Cleveland's schedule,
but it's the same difference between the Cavs and the Celtics.
But the Cleveland could have a better schedule than the Celtics. I don't know. I haven't looked at Cleveland's schedule.
There is 6 games. Actually, there's 5 games between the Cavs and the 9th seed, which is the Pistons, and there's 6.5 games between the Cavs and the Celtics.
The irony
so
here,
they are more likely to miss the playoffs than get the number 1 seed.
Okay, well the irony here
is that Rodney Hood does not help the situation.
The irony here is that the Celtics play against the Cavs, the new look Cavs, and when the Celtics win, and I'm saying it right now, when the Celtics win, that's going to be
when they win.
Well, I mean they still got to gel. They're still not the best team in the East.
When you have George Hill coming in there,
that's the narrative.
And he can't figure out what color hair to have. I never know.
All right, well, speaking of that game, let's look ahead a bit. Sean Dutra's.
When you look ahead.
Sean, what we got here? I mean, we got obviously the Cleveland Cavaliers on Sunday.
We're talking about any other trades, but all right.
Actually, I think the biggest trade that's going to affect the whole Eastern Conference standings and this whole prediction about the Cavaliers maybe not making the playoffs.
They'll make the playoffs.
Blake Griffin going to the Pistons. I think that's a huge move for the Pistons.
Well, yeah, we talked about it last week, how they're going for it.
Okay, really quickly, though? Really quickly.
Hold on, real quick, though. Let's get your take on this. What happens with Isaiah? Is he going to just...
Here's what's going to happen with Isaiah. Isaiah's going to... Obviously, he's going to start in L.A. I mean, who's their 2 guard? Yeah. Thank you.
Kuzma.
Yes, thank you. Who's the 2 guard?
Kuzma?
Isaiah will...
Kuzma comes off the bench anyway, regardless.
Yeah, Isaiah's going to start at the 2. LeVar's going to give him mad open shots. The offense is going to run through Isaiah. It's not a big deal. He's going to probably put up like 25, 26 points per game. He's not going to get a max deal. I think people, which I think is like good the way the Celtics handled the entire thing, because if he stayed and he came back, and even if he did average 20 points a game this year, like coming back from the hip injury, and they made it to the second round of the Eastern Conference, the Celtics would have been hand-tied to give him a max deal. You know what I mean?
Right. I think he's plan C at this point, because obviously they're going to go out for LeBron James. They're going to go after Paul George.
He's not staying in L.A.
Well, if they strike out on both of those guys, you don't think they'll think about signing him?
No, he's not staying in L.A. I think you're going to see Isaiah Thomas in an Orlando Magic jersey. I think you're going to see him in an Orlando Magic jersey.
Well, yeah, if the Lakers get one of those guys, they'll probably keep it moving. But yeah, I mean, a team like Orlando Magic or another team, obviously they'll be on Isaiah will be on their radar.
He'll end up back in the Sacramento Kings now that they don't have a point guard.
That's a possibility.
Again, 15 games is just not a good sample size for any player to say good fit or bad fit. And I get it. Cleveland, saw an opportunity. They went for it. I personally thought that they wouldn't have traded Isaiah Thomas unless it was for someone like Kemba Walker. Like that was, but Michael was like, no, like the price tag on Kemba was too high for anybody, not just the Cavaliers. But I would have thought somebody like him would have been a better trade option than
you think it would
than what they got. And there was several talks about it.
True,
but Michael was his asking price was just too high.
Yeah, well, going back to where Isaiah may go, I just thought about this. Right, if you are a middling team, right? Let's say, I don't know. You talk about the Magic. You talk about the Hawks. You talk about these teams that are like, we have a couple young guys we're trying to groom, but maybe they're not an offensive piece. You sign Isaiah to a max deal. You do. Why wouldn't you? If you're Atlanta, maybe Atlanta's got Schroeder and they like Schroeder, whatever, you can play Isaiah off the ball.
I mean, there are reports that they're trying to deal Schroeder. So.
You know what I mean, though? If you got a couple pieces you like let's even... the reason why I say Orlando, you got a couple pieces. You got Vucevic, you got Isaacs, you got a couple pieces here and there. You're like, maybe we're feeling good about Herzonia.
You still got Aaron
We
Gordon.
just need somebody to score the basketball. You know what I mean? We want to grow these people. And Isaiah is a great piece to add, sign to a max deal, make you immediately relevant, and then also you can trade him very easily. Very easily. So, I don't know. I doubt that he is going to be with the Lakers for very long.
Speaking of former Celtics players that were traded this past week, Jay Crowder. I think he's going to keep bouncing around because of that that contract he has.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yep.
I don't think he's on.
He's the most friendly contract.
Yeah, he's not going to stay with the Jazz. They're gonna move him again, and that's unfortunate.
He's not going to play another good year basketball until he gets re-signed.
Well, I mean,
he's a mid-level exception guy to a championship team.
Not only that, but
that's what he's turned into. Thanks, Danny Ainge.
I know, but off. I
love Jay Crowder.
I know, but off the court,
I love Jay Crowder though.
I understand that, but off the court, remember he's had some growing pains, up and down. He's had an up and down year, so I don't think when he got traded from Boston that it was ever going to be good for Jay Crowder.
Okay, I know we've been all over the place. We got to get into our schedule, and then in case you missed it, but Marcus Smart also is still a Celtic. How you guys feeling about that?
I like it because obviously there wasn't a deal that was worth pulling the trigger on. I think the Celtics value him more than most other teams. And if they weren't getting that first round pick, which I always thought they would never get for Marcus Smart, then you keep him. And that's a guy that you value going into the postseason now. Is he a guy you may be able to sign during the offseason? That's yet to be seen. It all depends on how he performs. But I'm happy to know that not only is he still a Celtic, but that second unit is going to be strong when he comes back. Much stronger when he comes back, is what I have to say.
Yeah, I agree. When Marcus Smart comes back, you kidding me?
Yeah, but do we believe that Danny Ainge was like, oh, we were never going to trade Marcus?
No, I think if you got a first-round pick, you would have traded Marcus.
Yeah, but that's just it, though. A lot of teams, that's what they want. That's what they wanted out of
Tyreek Evans was going to go for a first-round pick. They didn't trade Tyreek Evans because they didn't get a first-round pick. We didn't trade Marcus Smart because we didn't get a first-round pick. First-round picks were very coveted this year because everyone sees it as a deep draft.
Yeah, good point.
Back when first-round picks for the Celtics were not coveted,
Yeah.
But also the Celtics were trying to go for like the Kevin Loves of the world and the Jimmy Butlers of the world. It's not like now a first round pick. People are looking at Tyreek Evans and Marcus Smart and saying, "Not worth my first round pick." Before it was like, "Hey, take my first round pick for Kevin Love, huh? Huh? Hey, what do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, but at what point though does Danny keep with the drafting, because you're gonna have to start paying these guys eventually.
Keep on drafting like a mole. But
All right, what's the schedule looking like? What we got?
so first off, the Celtics took on the Raptors, the Wizards, and the Pacers and the Cavs. Those are the top 4 teams other than the Celtics in wins in the Eastern Conference, and they need to beat the Cavs because they can't go 1-3 against the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference, right? That's
Correct.
scary if they do. They got to go 2-2. So you got to beat the Cavs at home. You got to retire Paul Pierce's number in pride. Then you got Austin Rivers and the Clippers coming in. Joke.
Who's not playing, by the way?
It's Austin Rivers' team.
Austin's not
He's
playing.
back.
Oh, is he? Oh,
Saw him
man.
against the Pistons.
Oh, wow.
Song against the Pistons.
Pistons come in out. We go to the Detroit after the whole Clippers debacle, and then the Knicks. That's the game that we were trying to go to. Man, you still down to go?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. All right, so there we go.
3-0.
That's looking ahead. I'm gonna say 4-0.
4-0, that's right.
With a triple win over the Cavs, so maybe 7-0
All right.
The triple win.
with a glass of tea.
I'm going to say...
Iced tea.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think the Celtics are about to go on a run because
Maybe
the way
the Pistons drop. Maybe
the way they looked against the Pacers, where they went down 26 and then came back and they looked like money, and then it was just like it was one shot off.
By the way, are you still on that boat that's all right, that you're not worried about that at all, about these double-digit deficits trying to come back every damn time?
The deeper we go into the season, the less good I feel about it, but also the less often it's happening, and also
going into Sunday, against the Cavs, they're not in first place anymore for the first time since October.
look at the Trailblazers game, right?
Yeah,
Down by 13.
yeah,
Wasn't even a problem, bro.
yeah.
Wasn't even a second thought in my mind that they would come back and make this game close. That's why I I don't like them getting down by 26. I don't like them getting down by 26.
Like the 10 points, 11 points, 13.
But
the 20 points.
But I enjoy seeing them go on a run and just taking over a game and totally dominating basketball for 5 to 10 minutes in a quarter. That's something to see. That's why I like it.
By the way,
Because
what do we think about Greg Monroe?
He's number 55.
Eric Williams.
I never forget our Eric Williams.
AC Earl.
I mean, more Eric Williams than AC Earl.
I know.
AC Earl, Jesus.
Frank, what's his name? Gauskowski or whatever.
Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank. I don't know if they really call him that, but
What was Zerbiak's number?
55 actually.
Yeah, Zerbiak.
Wally, good old Wally, Flatfoot Wally.
Eric Williams. I loved Eric Williams.
Yeah, we did.
Branded like a motherfucker.
We all did.
Buck-toothed like a motherfucker.
That was Jim O'Brien's final straw when they traded away Eric Williams.
For Ricky Davis?
Yeah.
I was pissed, bro. I was in 8th grade tech ed, found out about that trade. I was like, you traded Eric Williams for what?
And Tony
We
Petit.
have a team building here. Those are 2 cornerstones of our starting lineup. You start Eric Williams and Tony Petit every day, and you get Ricky Davis back.
And Gary Welsh.
And that's what we're going to do.
You liked Yuri that one year, though.
If I was done in 8th grade, I would have given up on the Celtics after that trade.
And that's Sean Dutra's.
When you look ahead.
All right. With that, Sean gives you looking ahead. And, of course, that segment of this Causeway Street podcast is brought to you by MyBookie. Head over to mybookie.ag where you can enter the promo code Causeway Street.
Causeway.
And you can get yourself quite a discount because you're a listener of the Causeway Street podcast.
Causeway
And,
Street.
Of course, it isn't just basketball with these guys. You can bet on any other sport. But since we're in the basketball season, make sure you head over to mybookie.ag. See what you can win. Get yourself some easy cash and use the promo code Causeway Street where you can win plenty of cash at mybookie.ag. Your best website to win plenty of money on sports. It is mybookie.ag. Use the promo code Causeway Street.
You may have some insider information about the curling in the Olympics. Bet on it. Mybookie.ag.
Wasn't going to mention that, but if you do have some inside information, then you're all set because they have you covered for every single sport.
I have sabotaged the Finlandians' broom in curling. Okay,
that's what they're called.
I've sabotaged it. It is not as rough as it needs to be.
All right, let's wrap this up where we wrap up every single episode of the Causeway Street Podcast with "In Case You Missed It." Joel, what we got? What did we miss?
In case you missed it.
Walk into the practice facility, you see those numbers. Every day you see in the arena, you see these numbers. You know, that was inspiration. I want to be up there. I want to be with this franchise long enough because when you look at the numbers and you see accomplishments that they made, you're like, you know, that was an example for me to try to follow. Well, how do you live up to these guys? How do you live up to, you know, McHale, Bird, Parrish, you know, even Maxwell? Well, Maxwell was easy. No, but it's great just to have that hanging over your head, something to try to strive for. Me to be mentioned and sitting on the side of those guys is just a tremendous honor. And with the way the NBA is today, where, you know, guys don't really stick around for one franchise, I'm thinking like my number may be up there for a while before you see the next number. So, you know, but it's truly an honor.
This special edition of In Case You Missed It is brought to you by none other than the future Hall of Famer, Paul Pierce.
The truth.
So in case you missed it, Paul Pierce, in 19 years in NBA, finished off with 26,397 points for a career average of 20 points per game. Finished with 7,527 rebounds for an average of 6 rebounds per game. And he finished with 4,708 assists for an average of 4 assists per game.
Beast.
Number 34 goes into the TD Garden rafters.
In the Hall of Fame.
Living in the Hall of Fame.
The first former Celtics player to get his number retired since Cedric Maxwell in 2006.
And I rise up. I rise up.
Hey.
So I want to ask
all
you guys.
I know is that
Incredible.
Paul Pierce is the first player in any sport in Boston, right next to David Ortiz. Literally, David Ortiz and Paul Pierce are the only players to get their numbers retired since I've been born. Both number 34.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like,
how many since you've been born?
Players that have played and have shined.
that you've witnessed. Right?
That I've witnessed.
That you followed.
Oh, you didn't watch Larry Bird Night?
Maybe Cam Neely. Maybe Cam Neely's in that joint.
You didn't watch Larry Bird Night?
Cam Neely. I mean, Larry Bird. I wasn't alive for Larry Bird. I can't say that, man.
Oh, but I'm just saying, like,
born in '88.
No, but you saying the first time those are the things that retired numbers.
You make it sound like we were all like 20 when Larry Bird Night happened, or
No.
or when Larry Bird played. That we were all at a reasonable age. Where we were like, we saw Larry Bird play.
No, we're not
So
talking about
what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is players that I watched,
that you
that
followed,
I grew up
that you
on.
followed.
Oh,
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, then I misunderstood. I'm sorry. I'm an asshole. My bad. I'm a fuckface.
I mean, I look at if Sean Jefferson got his number retired by the Red Sox, I'd be right there for it. If Todd Day got his number retired by the goddamn Celtics, I'd be right there for it. If Robert Edwards got his number retired, or
Blue Edwards, get it right.
Who?
Blue Edwards,
the running back from the Patriots?
No, Blue Edwards was a player for the Celtics.
Oh no, I'm talking about Robert Edwards from the Patriots, who blew his knee out after winning Rookie of the Year in the beach football game. Tragic. You want to give Chris Slade his number retired? I'll watch that. But all I'm saying, I think.
Well, Todd Day at one point he tied Larry Bird for the most points in a quarter with 22.
Sure.
There you go.
There are three players that I have grew up on.
That's like the equivalent of like kids nowadays who saw like Paul Pierce as a.
No, I get it. I misunderstood.
I saw Paul Pierce's career. It's like,
there are legitimately. There are actually. You know what? I apologize. There's four because we're getting old for these Red Sox. There's Pedro. There's David Ortiz.
Put Pedro in there. Yep.
There's Cam Neely, and then there's Paul Pierce. And you can maybe put Ray Bork in that mix, but I just don't know because Ray Bork was playing long before I was born, long before he was 77. I think I can claim Cam Neely, but I can't claim Ray Bork. Those are the four, man. Those are the four.
Arguably the greatest Celtic in the last couple of decades, man. 3 decades. Come on, man. It's pretty much Larry Bird and Paul Pierce.
And you know what? I don't claim the Patriots Hall of Fame is retiring a number because they don't retire the number. You know what I mean? Like they will retire Tom Brady's number when Tom Brady's number is up and ready to go. But I'm not gonna say like, oh well, Teddy Bruschi is up in the Ring of Honor in the Patriots Hall of Fame.
No, I got you.
You know what I mean? Like you can't count the Patriots because they don't retire their damn numbers. You got to retire their numbers to make it meet something.
Yeah.
No one wears the number 8 on the Bruins right now because that's Cam Neely's number. You know what I mean?
And a lot of people wore number 8 on the Celtics.
A lot. And Antoine Walker, someday you'll get your number retired too.
I doubt it.
Why wouldn't he?
Because his number has been used by plenty of players since he left.
That's what I was getting.
I'm just joking. I'm joking right now. I'm joking.
All right, go on, Joe.
Favorite Pierce moment in person, not like what you saw on TV
Of
or
all
what
time?
you thought his best game was.
good question.
Favorite Paul Pierce moment that you witnessed at the Garden or in any other arena, because I know Sway's seen him in other arenas. Sometime today.
You know what? I don't even have like a moment. I have a season. Because
that you went to a lot of these games in person? Okay.
Yeah. Like there was a time where I was like 11 and I was like, yo, Dad, I want to go to the Celtics game. Because I love Paul Pierce. I think, you know what? My moment in the Garden.
Shout out to you, Papa Dutra.
My moment in the Garden was when my dad got me the Paul Pierce jersey.
Mm.
At the we went to like 4 games. He was like, I love that you love basketball. Like we'll get it. And he wasn't buying into Paul Pierce because it was Larry Bird. It was Larry Bird. And he was like, no, not 34, it's 33. And he got me the Paul Pierce jersey in around like 1990. No, in like probably 2000 Paul Pierce jersey. Right when they went over to the Nike jerseys, I got that jersey. I still wear it today, man. He got me an adult large because I don't know why he got me an adult large, maybe because he wanted to wear it. But
so you were like, what season was that?
It's like 2000, 2001.
Okay, all right, yeah. He was starting to come into his own.
Yep, that was it. And I probably went to like 4 or 5 games that year.
That season was when he got dubbed the Truth, I believe.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. I think, and the fact that you know what, I didn't get to go to a ton of games, but like my dad was like, you know what, these tickets are $10 We're going because it makes sense. We will take the tea in, and I will spend $40 on this night 4 times a year.
There you go.
To take you into the Garden. So yeah, man. I mean, Paul Pierce may be a Celtics fan, man. That's all that it comes down to. And if you want to get into the Paul Pierce moments that you've seen at the Garden, I would have to say probably one of those 2008 playoff games against the Hawks. I went to like 1 or 2, but we lost those games.
So probably.
No, we won. We won Game 5. I'll give you that. I'll take that.
Sway?
All right. It's funny you mentioned that because a lot of the games, obviously, my favorite Paul Pierce moments, I wasn't there live.
I watched them all on TV. That's what I mean. They told me curveball.
One moment that sticks out to me the most is his very last season with the Boston Celtics. I went to a lot of games that year. I probably went to like 10 games that season. And there was this one game against the Cavs, which, ironically enough, was against Kyrie Irving, which obviously at that time I didn't know what was going to transpire years later. But what I liked the most about that game was it was the first time I seen Paul Pierce drop 40 points in front of me. And let me tell you, man, it was something special because not only
after Rondo went down, right?
After Rondo went down? Yeah. This was the year Rondo was down. Yeah.
This was point guard Paul Pierce.
Point guard Paul.
And
Kyrie was going off. It was like Paul Pierce versus Kyrie. The game went down to the wire, and Paul just took over, man. Classic Paul Pierce style. I just love the fact that he was one of the few players who was, 35 at the time? To drop 40. And it was such a great moment because not only did he drop 40, but he just looked like classic Paul Pierce. He looked like 2004, 2004 Paul Pierce, like when Paul Pierce was averaging 26, 27 points a game. And that moment just stuck out to me the most because it was just like, you know what, young fella, yeah, you're that guy right now. You're that top rookie in the NBA. But I'm going to put you in a place and show you that not only this is my place, this is my TD Garden, but I still got it. And I can still drop 40 when I want to. And that's what he did, man. That's the last time I seen Paul Pierce drop 40. The first and only time I seen Paul Pierce drop 40 against the Cavaliers. I mean, you know how it was, man. We didn't go to a whole lot of games growing up. We did go to a good amount. But that's one game that stood out to me the most because it was like, you know, the KG era, the Paul Pierce era. It was an era where, you know, of course, the tail end of it. I think we all kind of knew it was the tail end of that era. We weren't quite sure if it was going to be the last season. It turned out to be the last season. So that made it that much more special to me because it was the very last time Paul Pierce dropped 40 in a Celtics uniform.
For me, one moment that comes to mind, or a game that comes to mind.
Oh, I'm glad you got to be able to think about this the entire time before.
No, man, because I couldn't.
Yeah, you put me on the spot, but I like that. I liked it.
Before the podcast, because you asked this question, man. You asked me in-person things, man. I'm trying. I'm just going to say that it was a little unfair.
No, but I mean, with my
He's
my
all
answer.
He's all
my
like with
answer-
the intro and everything.
No, but my answer is not like the best answer in terms of like the question, but I feel like it was an ill moment because of three things. One is because it's the first and only time I went to the Garden to see the Celtics take on the Lakers. Two, this is the first time that Antoine was playing at the Boston Garden after being reacquired at the trade deadline that season. So this was Doc Rivers. This is his first year?
No, this is his
second year.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're pushing for the playoffs. They re-signed Gary Payne after they waived him. Right? Oh no, he got traded to the Hawks for Antoine Walker.
Yep.
Then they waived him.
Yep.
So they were on the road at that time. So then this is the first game back. Me and Sway actually we scalped tickets. So that's the first time that I scalped tickets outside the TD Garden. I don't recommend that, by the way, because you know you do get ripped off. But anyway, that's besides the point. So
you dropped like $100 a ticket that night.
This game stands out to me because Paul Pierce shut down Kobe Bryant. The first and only time I've seen Kobe Bryant in person, and he didn't have a good game. And Paul Pierce was one of the big reasons for that. In fact, Kobe Bryant has had a chance to win the game on a jumper, and Paul Pierce was all up in his face. When we talk about, and you brought up at the beginning of the episode, like Paul Pierce, yes, I completely agree with you. One of the most underrated defenders, especially when it was time for him to defend people like Kobe or LeBron, and et cetera, et cetera. But this game, Antoine. I think Antoine went from the 88 back to the 8.
You know what? This was
Al
Doc
Jefferson.
Not to cut you off
Jefferson,
real
yeah,
quick
yeah.
though. This was Doc Rivers' first year.
Right?
You're
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Go ahead. Keep going.
They won the division. They won this run, and they were like, "Yeah,
it was the first time they won a division.
we're going
in a
for
long
it."
time.
Exactly. Unfortunately, they lost to the Pacers, but
Rafe LaFrentz started, not to mention.
But that's the same season where they lost to the Pacers, and everybody wanted Paul Pierce traded because when he got ejected in
Indiana.
in Indiana, they forced Game 7.
Yep.
So yeah, that's one moment that
That's a
sticks
great
out.
moment.
That's one moment that sticks out to me because of a couple of reasons. Like I said, mainly because it was the first time and the only time that I've seen Kobe in person, and because of the Laker, Boston.
I mean that was the era, right?
And this is the first, and that season was the first season, the post Shaq season.
I was gonna say this was after that huge Lakers era.
Yeah,
And it was like, here we go, Boston. We're on the up and up. The Lakers got Smush Parker as their point guard. You know what I mean? It was almost like, here we go.
Chucky Atkins.
We're about to
Yeah.
bypass the Lakers.
Yeah.
Chris Mim.
And of course, what transpired years later, obviously Celtics and Lakers met each other in the finals. But at that time,
And that was 3 years before. That's crazy.
at that time, it was the first time for Celtics fans that we're thinking the Celtics may turn out to be a better team than the Los Angeles Lakers.
But
Yeah.
and it's funny because
Other than they get Kobe and Shaq.
No, this is after Shaq.
this is actually
That's the
Shaq.
point.
Shaq was
Yeah.
gone.
When Shaq left, they had Smush Parker.
Oh
they
yeah,
had,
yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry.
If somebody would have told me,
Brian Grant as their big, like
Yeah,
it
if
wasn't
somebody-
looking
no,
good
it's
in
Chris
LA.
Mim.
Yo,
Chris
Brian
Mim.
Chris
Grant.
Mim, excuse me.
Brian
Chris
Grant on
Mim
the
was their big
Blazers
man.
was a beast.
He was. That's true.
Celtics traded away Chucky Atkins, Chris Mim for Rick Fox and Gary Payne. Rick Fox decided to retire.
Well, he retired.
They retired, and Gary Payne was like, "I don't want to play for the Celtics." And then he was like, "Okay, I guess I got to play for the Celtics." And it turned out to have a great season. And if somebody had told me that night, oh no, 3 years from now, these two teams are going to be in the finals. They're going to be contenders.
Right.
I would have been like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, you know what's crazy
And
when
Kevin Garnett's going to be on the Celtics. Stop smoking
I
crack.
called that shit
That's
2
what
years
it
before it
said.
happened. But when you look back on it too, you want to talk about Paul Pierce being the all-time leading scorer, right?
Yeah.
What was his rookie year like?
His rookie year, His rookie year, he was on pace to be rookie of the year until he went down with an ankle injury and missed a few weeks. And the NBA shortened.
You mean
lockout
lockout season, right?
Season. Yeah.
He missed half a goddamn season.
He didn't. No, he missed maybe like 5 games.
25 to 30 games they missed that year.
No. Paul Pierce? No,
lockout season?
The lockout season was only 50 games that year.
He missed like half a month, which was like...
That's 25 to 30 games, bro.
No, it wasn't out that long. Look it up. I know he wasn't out that long.
The lockout season?
He was only out for like 2 weeks. Like a week to week and a half.
No. The lockout season, he missed 25 to 30 games.
I think you were saying that because of the injury.
I'm not saying about the injury. I'm talking about the fact that he didn't get those games to play in.
Well, yeah. Like everyone. Yeah.
You think if he had 30 more games, he would have beat whoever?
Vince Carter, yeah.
How many games?
I still think he was a rookie.
How many games did everyone play that year? I forget.
50.
No, they played more than that.
No, it was 50. It was 50, and it was like a back-to-back.
He played 48.
Back-to-back.
No, he might have just missed 2 games because
it was a 50-game season.
Yeah, it was 50 games.
It was so packed.
It started in February. So
all I'm saying is like we were talking about the Pierce just beating Havlicek, with his final shot.
Yeah, you're right.
That's another shortened
season. You give him 30 more games on his career.
Plus the 2012 season was shortened too.
Yep.
Plus, if he had the talent around him, he would be up there with Larry Bird, All
right, so stop smoking crack. All right, let's end this bad boy.
Yo, listen, I'm not saying he was a better player than Paul. I'm not saying he's a better player than Larry Bird. I'm saying if he had the resources that Larry Bird had, he would have had the same results.
All I'm going to say is my favorite Paul Pierce memory, will always be the comeback in the fourth quarter against the Nets. That's literally, by far, my favorite point of being a Celtics fan in my entire life.
You want to talk about moments?
The free throw?
No, my favorite Paul Pierce moment didn't even happen in the game. It happened after the Celtics won. Me and Sway went down to the Garden, and we saw Paul Pierce come out with the MVP trophy in his lap. He's in the passenger side.
Oh no, he was driving.
He was driving? No, I'm pretty sure he was. I'm pretty sure he was in the passenger seat.
He
was drinking. He couldn't have been driving.
He was driving, bro.
He was not driving.
His fiance was in the passenger side. Dude, you're telling me I chased his car down?
I just remember him with the trophy, and everyone's like, "Oh shit, Bob Pierce!" So then we start chasing him down Causeway Street.
Which I asked him about, and he said it. He remembered this. This was 2 seasons ago when he came back with the Clippers. He remembered.
So we're chasing him down, and the car just goes faster and faster. And I'm like, we're not gonna catch him. And then I just look to the side, and Sway's not next to me anymore. He's still running after the car.
Red light. Paul
this
hit
is
a
about to be red light somewhere.
You know what the best part? I'm telling Paul, I'm thanking him for what he did. The light turns green, and he didn't move his car. He was just listening to me, bro. That's why I know he was driving. He was driving. His fiance had the MVP trophy on her lap on the passenger side.
I may have been intoxicated that evening.
Joel was intoxicated. Paul Pierce was not.
Another moment.
He may have been tipsy.
Another moment during an Antoine Walker softball tournament where we weren't even supposed to we're there trying to get pictures and autographs, and this thing wasn't secured. It wasn't secured at all. This was right after the 2002 season where you were talking about the comeback game against the Nets.
Believe it or not, Vin Baker was there.
Yep. No, was he there?
He had just been traded.
How drunk was Vin Baker?
He made a brief appearance and he left.
How
drunk was he?
Even Antoine, which was like his tournament.
Yeah, Antoine
he
was
left
there
too.
for long. Yeah.
So we finagled our way over the fence and just chilled with Paul Pierce.
How does oneself finagle their way over a fence?
The fence was like 3 feet high. It was the security. The security for this place was just ridiculous.
Sway was up in the tree at first.
Damn, Joel, what the heck, man?
Up in the tree at first, and I was like, "Bro, yo, let's fucking."
This fence is only 3 feet.
No one is telling us like.
There's no need for a tree.
No one is telling us like, "Yo, you shouldn't. What are you doing? You can't be here." That type of shit. And it was just like this low key, and everyone is just having a good time. All the Celtics players were so chill. Eric Williams, Tony Battist's brother. There's moments, endless moments,
man. I cannot wait for Sunday. Finally gets acknowledged.
I'm gonna name my son Pierce.
Was that official?
I want to. What do you guys think?
Pierce,
middle name. I like the middle name. I like the idea of making it the middle name. I like
Pierce Michael Dutra,
or Michael Pierce Dutra.
I like the Pierce. Pierce first.
Strong Irish name. I've literally since I was 14. All I'm saying is I think Pierce is a great first name, and I think it's an underrated first name.
Yeah. Fun fact: Paul Pierce also loves Tom Brady and is a Patriots fan. Named his kid nothing to do with the Patriots, but named his kid Prince.
You know what? Fun fact: how many people you know have named their kid Pierce?
I don't know any. That's why.
Pierce is a great fucking name.
Yeah.
Everybody,
I'm all for it.
let me know what you think about the name Pierce.
All right, yeah. Head with that comment section.
This is going to name my child.
This is a huge responsibility, so don't mess it up.
I'm actually having a baby, guys.
I
I went to goddamn birthing classes and everything today.
If you've been listening, you know that little Dutro's on the way.
Jesus Christ. I was in a class today with somebody
little Dutro's baking in the oven.
Yelling at me about using Johnson & Johnson baby wash. I grew up on Johnson & Johnson baby wash. We all damn did. Don't be fucking hating on that shit now.
We all damn did.
You did.
No, I agree with you. I just think it's funny the way you said
can't. It. She goes, don't ever use Johnson & Johnson. And I go, the yellow shit? The shit we all got bathed in?
Don't use it.
Don't use it.
Oh.
And you go, there's so many chemicals and you don't even know what's in there. And I was like, listen, motherfucker.
Sean's like, I still use Johnson & Johnson.
I grew up on Johnson.
He's like, and I came out fine.
Sometimes you're having a bad day. Use Johnson & Johnson baby shampoo on your hair. But today, as a 29-year-old man, if I went into the shower and realized, oh man, there's only Johnson & Johnson in here, I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna feel like a fucking G when I get out of this shower.
And on that note,
all right, let's get up out of here.
Download the best on online sports coverage. CLNS mobile app. Oh, it's been a little while.
When you want to
On your iPhone or your Android, that's the CLNS mobile app.
Bow.
And that is it for
In case you missed it.
Paul Pierce. Gets his number retired. We salute you. Sway will be there. And if you're going down there, appreciate these moments because they don't freaking last.
Yes.
Okay, we've been, as Boston sports fans,
you will
we've
not
been
have this
spoiled,
in 5 years.
Spoiled as hell over the last 18 to 20 years. We've had some great moments. Cherish them because that's all we got at the end of the day. Memories.
That is all we got.
That's
you
it.
You want Jared Sullinger running this team again? Remember those couple of years, guys?
I'm just talking about sports in general, but I get it. I get what you're saying.
Do you want, let's even be honest.
Jordan Crawford?
Jordan Crawford?
I didn't mind Jordan. That was a little good half a season.
I didn't mind Jordan, but I did mind Jordan.
Yeah.
Because when Jordan Crawford was like the best story on the team, I was like, this fucking sucks.
All right, one of the greatest, bro. Paul Pierce.
I thought you were going to say Jordan Crawford.
So, hey, enjoy yourself, bro. That's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a long time before you see a guy like Paul Pierce.
No, it's going to be...
but you know why? Because there is no longevity on one single franchise anymore.
Well,
That's right.
I think if there's going to be longevity, it will be with the Celtics. I have a feeling.
Everybody's paper chasing and ring chasing. That's just...
But see, that's the
that's
thing.
the way it is.
Paul Pierce didn't do that.
Yeah.
You know, he could have easily demanded a trade, but he waited almost 10 years to get some help. And once he got that help, he was a Celtic for life.
Okay, I'm going to say this.
No matter what happened towards the tail end of his career.
I'm going to say this. Garnett's going to get his jersey retired next, right?
Yes.
All right. Who's next?
Well, not until Minnesota
Kyrie around.
Man, we know Ray ain't going to get his number retired.
It's Kyrie. Kyrie's getting his jersey number retired before Ray Allen.
All right.
I'm out.
Sounds good. It could happen.
Well, on that note, send all your comments to @SeanDutra.
And on that note, are we going to the Wilbur to go see Ray Allen speak about his book? What the hell is that about? Speaking of, in case you missed it,
I got tickets for that already, guys. Come on,
guys. I don't know if you know this, but it's actually fake. He doesn't have a book.
No.
He's been catfished again.
He's catfished us all.
Oh man,
it's payback, bitch.
No wonder there was no line when I went to go buy him in front of the Wilbur. I was
it's
like,
payback,
what's going on here? I thought people were gonna be camping out here.
Oh no, we're gonna be there. We'll be in the building.
All right, everybody, enjoy the retirement ceremony, man. I cannot wait.
Paul Pierce, love you.
A legend.
Love you.
Paul retired. Pierce. One of the greatest.
Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce. On that.
Paul Pierce.
Can't wait. We out of here.
Until next time, folks. at Causeway Street on all social media accounts. Peace.
All right, my name is Paul Pierce.
With the 10th pick in the 1998 NBA draft,
Our team drafts me, I'm gonna be happy just, have this opportunity to play in the NBA.
the Boston Celtics select Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce slipped down to the 10th spot in the draft. A lot of people were wondering why.
Second half, I'm going to turn it up. From underneath, a beauty by Paul Pierce.
Yeah. Got a lot of love.
Well, he gets a lot of stuff from me. He watches my game when he's away from the court. He goes home, studies my tapes.
You have big dreams and you have big goals, anything's possible. Leader, by definition, one who is in charge.
I ain't going. Come on, put an extra 30 minutes on practice. Cause ain't no stop. He don't want it. What?
No, I love the NBA. It gives me a chance to be me. Can you see me? Am I clear to you?
Pierce, 10-time All-Star, future Hall of Famer.
When the stage is at its biggest, that's where I really want to come to perform.
The fourth quarter is crunch time.
Pierce for the lead. Yes! Pierce puts it up for the win. Knocks it down. Pierce driving on Stoudemire. The jumper. Yes! Celtics win.
That's how you do it. That's how you fight. One more.
The Celtics swarm the floor. It is the end of a 22-year odyssey.
It's a long year. It's been a long ride, baby. We have finally arrived. 10 hard years. Blood, sweat, and tears.
It is the truth. The MVP of the 2008 NBA Finals is Paul Pierce.